Talk about detaching polygons and making elements or objects from those polygons that match the existing geometry. We covered this briefly in the first module, but this will be a quick review with a few things added to it. I have a little motorcycle here with a sidecar, and I'm going to turn on edged faces. You can see it's extremely low poly, and what I'm going to do is strip out a back section from this sidecar and make a more modeled trunk piece here. I'm going to just put a gray material on the sidecar here. So standard gray material. Now let's select all of them first. There we go. And we'll just put a gray material on there. So what I have now is something that looks like that. And my sidecar here is all attached. It's many different objects, but they're all attached. So I'm going to scroll around to the back here. We're also dealing with tries in this particular model. So we're going to be in edit mesh for this so that I can get a hold of those tries. Something a little bit new. Don't usually see edit mesh too much anymore, but I thought I'd use it in this video just so you got used to it. So here I've selected these polygons. Now in this instance I'm using the border selection for the, I shouldn't call them polygons, tries. And what I'm going to do is jump over to, oops, wrong place. Right click here and go over to configure, and I'm going to say use shade selected faces because I like to see the shaded faces. I'm going to hold down shift and move this piece up, and you can see what I've done is kind of peeled off a layer. The old layer is still there, and now I've made this additional piece. I can clone it to the object or as an element. In this case I'm going to clone it as an element because I want it to keep its texture coordinates. And if I go back to my textures, turn this off, and I was to apply the textures to it, you'll see that I'm going to go to element now because we made that an element. You'll see the same texture coordinate is on both. And I'm going to go back to my gray shader so I can see what I'm doing. Now I'm in polygon mode now. I've got this whole thing selected. I can go to bevel, which in edit mesh is down here. You can see it. And I'm going to bevel this up. It looks like we've got some broken edges there. Okay, so we need to fix the broken edges. There we go. And scroll down a little bit more. I'm going to go to my vertices. Select these vertices here. And we're going to do a quick weld. You'll see all these, the tools you're used to in edit mesh are here, but they're in a slightly different spot. There we go. See if that does it. Looks like that's okay. Okay. It looks like our issue solved there. We'll go back to our piece here, and you can see that we can bevel it in and out now. We can also extrude it, so I'm going to give this a little bit of depth. You can also do these interactively. It's kind of interesting how edit mesh works, is I can interactively bevel these things. A little bit different than what we're used to with, whoops, moved my mouse. A little bit different than what we're used to with edit poly. So now I've made this piece that's separate that matches the old piece, and I can still select this by its element. It's all one element, and then I can position this back down so that I have something like a little raised section here. And if I add my texture back to this, what I end up with is the texture still on there. It's going to stretch along the sides because that's all new geometry. but for the most part, everything's still intact. So that's detaching polygons. It's just a little trick that's useful sometimes for vehicles, creatures, characters, because you've already got the geometry there, so if you want something to fit it exactly, you can just peel the geometry off. The same trick works in Edit Poly as Edit Mesh. It's just the controls under Edit Mesh are a little bit different, but you're used to the Edit Poly controls by now. So you shouldn't have any problem figuring out how to bevel or